Botvinko. Botvinko hit by McGinnis. Working hard along the boards. Centering play. Knocked down by John Blum. Kind of a crazy carom off the boards. Cleared to center ice by Ray Neufeld. 25% Sokol Kiev has been on the power play so far in their tour through the United States. 4 power play goals on 16 chances. This is their 17th. They'll have to chase all the way back in their own zone as the Mariners clear it right back out. Zinoviev, as I told you, he and the goaltender that is not playing tonight, we talked about earlier, Samoylov, 2 big defensive acquisitions picked up by Sokol Kiev during the summer. Mariners get it back down the length of the ice. Luke Crawford on the aggressive forecheck knocks down his man, covering up the puck and taking some time off the penalty to Dave Buda. Zinoviev was just on top of that puck and got up slowly. Rink-wide lead in for Malkoff. Malkoff drops right circle off the stick of Luke Crawford. Crawford, with a good penalty-killing shift for the Mariners, clears it to center ice. Zinoviev will be joined now just off the bench. Burkhanov has wholesale line changes right now for Anatoly Bogdanov, head coach of Sokol Kiev. 43 seconds left on the penalty to Dave Buda. That's something you won't see very often. A Soviet club dumping it in the zone. Chasing after it in the corner. Able to control is Timchenko. Side of the circle. Pulls it back to the point. Good drive. Gloved by Caprice. Couldn't squeeze it. But was able to clear it off the boards. Held in by Kulabukov. Little exchange in the corner with Botvinko. Back at the point, Sokol Kiev trying to move it around and work on the power play. It has 14 seconds left on it. At the point, Urasov in front, deflected, Pat saved Caprice. And a rebound knocked out by Bob McGinnis. That'll just about do it for the Sokol Kiev power play. Urasov turns up ice while Dave Buda rejoins the play out of the penalty box. Urasov had it taken away by Beraldo, held into the point by Kulabukov. And he lost it. Beraldo clears it through the neutral zone. Mariners with a 3-1 lead. 9 minutes left in this first period. Second time Sokol Kiev and the Mariners have played an international exhibition game here at the Civic Center in Portland. Last time 3 years ago in January of 1986. A 5-4 Mariners win. Mariners doing a good job. Every time a red sweater has the puck in the Mariners zone, there's a white sweater there. This time Buda has it taken away by Lupnin. Lupnin shot it and he hit a post and went in.
Yeah, the Mariners just coughed it up in their own end as they could not make the play and could not clear. Lupnin just catches a piece of that right post as he snaps it off. And Sokol Kiev is back within 1. And here we see the play has already been made. Now watch this quick shot. He just snaps it. And it just catches that right post. And it's in behind Frank Caprice.
So Lupnin and Burkhanov have scored for Sokol Kiev. Bob Beers, Ray Neufeld, and then Bob Beers again for the Mariners. And as Frank said, Sokol Kiev has pulled back to within 1. The Soviets took the early lead right off the bat, just 41 seconds in. And the Mariners rattled off a few. Broken up and brought back in over the Mariner blue line. Gildoshov shot. Caprice sees the rebound, comes off the boards, and cleared back out through center ice. Sergei Lupnin creating the offense back from the blue line, hands it to Ovchinnikov. Ovchinnikov's pass knocked down at center ice. John Blum just back from the Boston Bruins. 14 Maine Mariners have played for both the Boston Bruins and in Maine this year. The lead too far for Cruikshank in on Yuri Shindrov, and he'll hold on. And we'll take a break. Return to the Civic Center in just a moment.
We've got 8 minutes and a second remaining to play in an opening period that has seen 5 goals scored already. The Mariners leading Sokol Kiev 3-2.
Scott Harlow out to take the drop for the Mariners. I mentioned a little bit earlier, he leads the Mariners right now in goal scoring with 13, as Ron Hoover is playing with the Boston Bruins tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just called up. Hoover had 17. For the Mariners end, Sokol Kiev. Alexander Kuzminski loses it off the boards. McGinnis on the breakout. Gets it back again from Luke Crawford. But the Mariners bring it into the zone and will be called for the offsides. Both the Mariners and Sokol Kiev, Frank, have been pretty busy traveling. The Mariners just off a stretch of 7 games in 9 nights in 6 different cities. And Sokol Kiev was lucky to get here from Wisconsin in time for the game.
That's right. They got caught in the snow, of course, as they were in, I guess originally intended to go into Washington, then had plane problems in Chicago, had to return to Chicago, and from Chicago then flew into Bangor. And they were about, what, 3 hours late in arriving here in this area.
They got to the Holiday Inn where they're staying tonight at about 4:20, and then came over, had to tape up their sticks and get ready to go. Beers keeps it in for the Mariners. He has 2 goals tonight. Miller, the wraparound attempt. Sindrov dives down in his crease, covers it up. And Mike Miller, knowing where the net is, tried to beat Sindrov to the near side. The 8th shot on goal. First period for the Mariners. You got to be happy to have a goal scorer like Mike Miller back in the lineup.
Yeah, as you said, 12 games played with the Mariners, 12 goals scored, and that's the reason he was called up to the Bruins. But he did not light the light all that much with the Bruins. Scored just once with the Bruins and has been returned here to the Mariners. That time he took exception to a check by Timchenko and fired a left hand at him. You know, as Rick Bowness says, you can bump him and slow him down a little bit, but I'll guarantee you never intimidate him.
He's Plakov up to the Mariner blue line. Had it slide off. Jeff Circa for the Mariners. Out through center ice. Dmitry Urastov in the neutral zone where the Soviets can be so dangerous as they come to the blue line. Good hit at center ice. Jeff Circa knocked down Malkov hard. Geraldo there's it back to the Sokol Kiev blue line. Oleg Sinkov hands it off. Sinkov watches Urastov skate up through center ice. So much of their neutral zone offense started by the defensemen. They'll keep it in. The shot goes wide of Caprice. Rebounds. Caprice makes a save. And boy, did the Mariners get lucky there. I think Frank thought that was already in when he just kind of skated over to it.
Yeah.
And he made the save.
Sinkov, I think, thought it was in also. And you saw Caprice just chop the stick down on it and make the save. I think he already had it in his mind that he was beaten. But he gets a look at it. We'll get a look at it again now. You see, there it is. Look at this. I think he figured it was already by him. He just chopped that stick down on it. Sinkov, the most surprised guy out there, as Caprice makes the stop.
Mariners 3, Sokol Kiev 2, 6.5 minutes remaining in this opening period. To the Mariner blue line. Kulabukov got it in, but right to the stick of John Blum. Blum, last year, remember the Adirondack Red Wings, intercepted at center ice. Kulabukov got it back again in over the Mariner blue line. Kulabukov shot in and Caprice the save, and then he follows up with the rebound to tie it at 3.
Yep. Number 21 gets his own rebound as we'll get a look at it again, but that's Vladimir Kulabukov. He got the original shot. Caprice could do nothing with it. Watch now as he gets the original shot away. Threw a pretty good screen right there. Caprice makes the stop, but the rebound is out deep. He bats at it, and there's the backhand home by Kulabukov. The game is tied at 3-3.
Time of that goal will be 13:43, and an unassisted goal as Kulabukov did all the work to get that one. Sokol Kiev scoring their 3rd goal to tie it at 3 on their 13th shot of the night. Mariners have 8. 6 minutes now left to go in this high-scoring first period. Cruikshank able to keep it in. He finds Crawford. Crawford spins side of the circle, back in front. Cruikshank shot stopped in front. Good hitting in the offensive zone by Townsend to keep it in. Crawford shot it wide over the glove of Sindrov, and he dives to go after it. And as he dives, he knocks the net off the magnetic moorings. 5:41 to play first period. The Mariners 3, Sokol Kiev 3, and we'll return to the Civic Center in Portland right after this.
Checking that net down there as things got knocked loose a little bit. It's put back on the moorings. Mariners, some good forechecking that time, keeping pressure on in front of Yuri Shundrop. This one's all even 3-3 with 5:37 remaining to play. Opening period.
Peter Doris almost had Mike Miller in front. Cleared through center ice. Too far for Vladimir Olyetsky. Back in the Mariners zone is John Blum. We'll see a lot of Blum tonight. The captain for the Mariners. Mariners only with 5 defensemen. And the Mariners going to get caught for one in their own zone. An interference call. The Sokol Kiev player skating in towards the Mariners net, I believe, was Olyetsky.
No. Yeah, it'll be Blum going off. John Blum will go off, and Sokol Kiev will go on their second power play of the game. Mariners have converted once on the power play. As we get a look at John Blum. And as you said, John Blum just back from the Bruins himself, and the Mariner acting captain here this evening, and one of only 5 defensemen that the Mariners have available tonight.
Mariners cleared all the way back into the Sokol Kiev zone. Dmitry Urastov behind his goaltender. Trouble stopping, puts on the brakes, takes a look, and starts up ice. And up into the neutral zone, Oleg Sinkov. Sinkov over to Malkov. Ocher Malkoff at the right point. He's Splakov, lets his shot go. Frank Caprice the save. Rob McGinnis sends it up to Ray Neufeld, and the Mariners get it down the length of the ice. Is that the happy trumpeter?
That's the trumpeter. That's who did it. He distracted Yarostov as he made the pass. He was pounding on the glass. Yarostov wanted to know what's going on here.
That's what you call the home ice advantage. The happy trumpeter down from Quebec City tonight. Soviets break in 3-on-2. Shot off the blocker of Caprice. Skated in by Ocher Malkoff. Centering play. Jumps right through the slot and then over the back of Vladimir Tisplakov's stick. Mariners will change their penalty killers. A minute left to go on the penalty to John Blum. 4:22 remaining first period. Mariners and Sokol Kiev are tied at 3. This is the second power play of the night for Sokol Kiev. Stood up at the line by Scott Harlow. Harlow clears it out to center ice. You know you got confidence in your skating ability when you try to stop these darting Soviet players at your own blue line. They'll keep it in. Virhakov back at the point. Lubnin, one-timer, goes wide. Loose from the Mariners' zone. Bruce Shoebottom up the near wing boards. Mariners all season long have been a good penalty-killing club. Now Baraldo chases after it along with Sergei Lubnin, who has one of the 3 Sokol Kiev goals. Lubnin winds it up in his own end. Anatoly Naida. Soviets will skate it up to your blue line, and if they have nowhere to go and they don't want to dump it in, they'll take it all the way back behind their net and try to skate it up again. Just 9 seconds left to go on the Sokol Kiev power play. They're in the red sweaters. Move it around. Blum getting ready to come back. Shot Caprice is safe. Rebound just goes wide. Missing on the chance was Kulabukov as he had it down low and got it behind Caprice. Lubnin from the point. Deflected up over the glass and back behind the seats as we have a break in the action. 3:11 left to go first period. It's tied at 3.
Plenty of pressure put on, as we say, as they usually do on the power play. They're so skilled at throwing that puck around. Ali Bukharnov was planted right in front of Frank Caprice looking for any kind of deflection, but this one tipped up over the glass. 3:11 remaining in the opening period. Mariners dodge a bullet here on the Russian power play, and it remains all even at 3-3.
Andrei Ovchinnikov on the draw against Gord Cruikshank. Ovchinnikov wins it back. Fanning on the shot, Yuldoshev. Mariners cleared out to center ice. Big Graham Townsend down the right wing. Townsend leaned onto, whistling to get back into the play, Zinoviev. And Sokol Kiev brings up through center ice. Balulin in on the right wing. Off to Ovchinnikov. Ovchinnikov back behind the Mariners' net. Brings it back to the point. The drive blocked by Cruikshank and knocked out to center ice as Dmitry Zinoviev trying to drive it by Cruikshank. Ovchinnikov looking for something to happen, finds it in Balulin. He's knocked off the puck by Graham Townsend. And here's Bob Beers. Here's 2 of the 3 Mariner goals. Ray Neufeld has the other. McGinnis at center ice. Golfed it over the Sokol Kiev blue line. Taking it back in his own end. Timchenko. 2:18 left first period. We're tied at 3. It's gone back and forth. Both clubs have led. Broken up by McGinnis at center ice. Ahead to Lou Crawford. Crawford up to Mark Montanari. Had a good scoring chance off the initial draw. Montanari is knocked down on the play. A penalty call will come. The Mariners will go on the power play. But first, let's have a preview of our first intermission. We'll go down now to Jimmy Young.
Well, thanks, Scotty. Coming up in between the first and second periods, we'll talk with Mariner goaltender Norm Foster and also a look at glass-nosed hockey style with our reporter Tom Karen. And by the way, Scotty, you're doing a great job with those Soviet hockey names. Back upstairs to you guys.
Well, Yarostov will be going off on a holding minor here at 17:56 of the period. So the Mariners get back on the power play. This will be their 3rd one, and they're 1 for 2 in that department. Bob Beers, one of his 2 goals being a power play goal.
And no matter how many international games you do, Frank, this is your 6th. You can look at the names, you can memorize them, you can have the interpreter tell you them, but until it actually has the dropping of the puck, you really don't know how you're going to do.
How scary it is, huh? And the only thing you say is, thank goodness their relatives aren't watching.
You can bet on that. John Blum starts it up out of the Mariners zone. Blum will move the puck up ice. Mariners with the man advantage, scored on their earlier power play. Montanari hit along the boards by Lubnin. Wrapping it around, Splakov. Can't get out. Shoebottom shot, knocked down. Comes free to center ice. Shoebottom slows down Malkoff. Now in over the Mariner blue line. Sinkov turns the net. Tries to stuff, and a skate of John Blum, I believe, stopped that one. His defensive partner, Bruce Shoebottom. So that goal scored by the Mariners earlier in the period, Bob Beers' goal, on the power play, one of the few power play goals scored against this club all season long. Montanari off the side of the net. Turning it is Oleg Simkov. Oleg Simkov to Pyotr Malkov. 2-on-1 shorthanded. Here comes Sokol Kiev in over the Mariner blue line. Simkov in the slot. The shot. Caprice, a great save. He stopped Zinoviev point blank as we move to the final minute of play in the first period. Laid too far for Beers. The Soviet goaltender will dive and cover it up, and we'll be back with the final 49 seconds of the first period right after this break.
All right, the Mariners with about 46 seconds remaining on a power play that has really seen Sokol Kiev with the best scoring opportunities coming shorthanded.
Off the John Miller shot, save Shindro. Shindro stopped Mike Miller twice on a bouncing puck that I don't even think Mike Miller knew he was going to hit, and there with the left pad as he flashed it out. The Mariners number 11. 3 seconds separate the penalty and the time clock here in the period. Geraldo tried to draw it back at the point. Andrei Ovchinnikov fell down. Bob Beers with it. Beers turns back behind the net. Beers will race away from Valery Botvinko. Finds Mike Miller. Miller stood up and had his pocket picked at the blue line by Sergei Lubnin. Frank Caprice way out of the net. That'll just about do it for the Mariner power play. And I say that'll just about do it for the period. The buzzer sounds, and that'll do it for the first period here at the Civic Center in Portland. As the Mariners and Sokol Kiev between them score 6 goals, and they go off to the first intermission, tied at 3.
Well, I'll tell you, you always play the Russians. You see him put a lot of shots up on there, but I don't know if how happy Rick Bowness is going to be when he sees his club allowed 17 shots on. But I'll tell you, they usually do pile up the shots on, and the way they can skate and the way they fly. Mariners put 10 up there and scored 3 times. That's got to be a big key in this opening period. You talk about, the Soviets being a little tired. The Mariners are out there skating 15-2. And if you got to chase these guys around all night, you're going to get a little tired yourself.
So we'll see what happens. First intermission is coming up as Jimmy Young is joined by Mariner goaltender Norm Foster. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Well, an explosive opening period, 3 goals apiece. Bob Beers gets a couple for the Mariners, one of them on the power play, but the Sokol Kiev team answered with the last 2. Kulabukov picking one up at 13:43 to get the game even at 3-3. So the first 20 minutes dead even. Second 20 minutes about to get underway. Pyotr Malkov on the draw with Mark Montanari of the Mariners. And here we go into second period action. Scott Wyckoff with the description.
And whenever you have an exhibition game in your hometown, you want to put on a good exhibition, and good action, as you say, Frank, in that opening period. Bob Beers keeps it in front. Ray Neufeld tried to deflect it on, and then Dave Buda busted to the net. Buda out of the corner, had it knocked off his stick. Pyotr Malkov in his own end, can't get out. Buda back, picked off by Oleg Simkov. He can't get out. Neufeld on the forecheck to Buda. Off the skate of one of the Sokol Kiev players. Now Dave Buda will wind it up at center ice. Bouncing in the neutral zone, spun in on the left side. But Vinko can't get to it as he almost broke free. And that's what you got to watch for, are those bouncing pucks that they break onto on stride. In the neutral zone, dashing back on it, and able to control is Valery Shakrai. First shift we have seen for Shakrai. Shakrai watches as Simkov brings in, falls down, and back out to center ice. Tisplakov to Olyetsky. Sokol Kiev and the Mariners tied at 3. And over the Mariner blue line, Kulabukhov moves to the net. Kulabukhov fanned on the shot. Takes a second shot, and he scored.
Well, that's it. He got his own rebound after he stepped around Mike Miller. He fanned on the shot, but a loose puck, and he just picked it up. Nobody able to jump on it, and he just whips it home. Kulabukhov gets the first one here in the second period. 1 minute and 10 seconds in, and that's his second of the game. He's got 2 in a row now at 13:43. He got one of the opening period. There he stepped around Miller. Now watch him go to take the shot and fan on it, but the puck bounces right back onto his stick, and there he just whips it home with Caprice down.
So 5 games, 4 goals for Kulabukhov. That was a nice one there, as he knew that the Mariner goaltender Frank Caprice was down, and he had the composure to get it on goal. Tisplakov back behind the Sokol Kiev net. Tisplakov, breakout pass over the goal scorer stick. Kulabukhov. 18-11. Both clubs have a shot on goal here in the period. Sokol Kiev has outshot the Mariners. Jeff Circa paired right now with John Blum. Blum and Circa carry him off the boards back behind Frank Caprice. Jeff Circa does the right thing, finds an opening, and clears it down the length of the ice. Dmitry Rostov, pressured by Mike Miller. Long breakout pass, finds Sergei Lupnin. Lupnin in on the right side. Yuldashev takes his shot. Caprice the save. Yuldashev wants it back again, spun around, and Mike Miller almost got it back from Paul Baraldo. Dmitry Rostov leaves it off back behind his net. Sergei Lupnin scored from his defensive position in the first period. Lupnin at center ice. Ali Burkhanov, long drive up over the head and glove of Frank Caprice. Graham Townsend leaves it for Rob McGinnis. The Mariners clear it out to center ice. They crisscross in over the Mariner blue line. Lou Crawford came up with the loose puck. To Rob McGinnis. McGinnis can't find Graham Townsend. Spun by Ziknik. And then Ziknik has to chase back in his own end. Yuri Shundro leaves it off behind the net. The breakout pass up the boards. Valulin can't get out. Back behind the net for the Mariners. Trying to battle for it. It's Lou Crawford for Harlow. Centering play. Just missed Graham Townsend. And Ivar Valulin brings to the Mariner blue line. Valulin tries to get by McGinnis. He falls down, and Bruce Shoebottom covers for his defensive partner. 3 minutes played, second period. Sokol Kiev has jumped out with the only goal of the second period and taken the lead. 4-3. Edvard Valulin threw it back right into the skates of Lou Crawford. He'll clear it out to center ice. As Tom Caron told you in the intermission, Sokol Kiev will board the bus and play at Boston College tomorrow night. Both McGinnis and Shoebottom blocked the shot by Yuldashev. At the point, the drive saved Caprice off of Dmitry Rostov. It's back out to center ice. They'll back into their own end and keep backing at you. Keep coming back at you. Sokol Kiev. 3 wins and a tie in their previous 4 games in this tour through the United States. Splakov sends it off. The shot goes wide of the Mariners net. Caprice off the backboards. Zinstinski has it again. Shot Caprice. He made a left pad save. McGinnis to the rebound. Mariners bottled up in their own end. And McGinnis wraps it around the boards out to center ice. In the neutral zone. Scott Harlow. Harlow dogged there by Naida and Oyetsky. Fanning is McGinnis. But Bruce Shoebottom helps him out. Around the near wing boards, the Mariners clear it through center ice. And all the way down on Yuri Shundro. Shundro leaves it back behind his net for Zino Zinvayev. Sokol Kiev breaks in over the Mariner blue line. Moving the slot to the backhander. It goes wide. Oleg Sinkov drew a Mariner defender on him, then missed the mark. Mark Montanari out to center ice. Montanari to Dave Buda. Buda hit by Tisplakov. Tisplakov now spins up the boards, held by Beers. He moves to the slot. Right circle shot. Knocked down. There's a loose stick in front of the Sokol Kiev net. Montanari on the forecheck tries to hit Oleg Sinkov. And there's going to be a whistle and stoppage in play. Referee Mark Fawcett is going to call a pair of penalties, and we'll take a break. 5 minutes played, second period. Sokol Kiev 4, the Mariners 3, and we'll return in just a moment.
Well, we got matching penalties here. Dave Buda and Tsiplakov are going off to, I didn't get the call, whether it's a roughing call or what.
They're banging around.
They're going off for roughing at 4:59. These matching penalties, so each team remains at full strength.
Boy, I bet Rick Bowness is glad that they changed the rule a few years ago, so with matching minors, the teams do stay at full strength.
Yeah, none of that 4-on-4. You don't want to give Sokol Kiev any more room out there than they have right now.
One of the home ice advantage the Mariners do have is the professional rinks here in North America are much smaller. They're shorter and more narrow than the rinks that this Sokol Kiev team plays on in their native province of Ukraine and also throughout Europe. Bob Beers on it now. Beers held at the point. Dmitry Rostov right on Frank Caprice. And Beers, who's all over the ice tonight, gets it back out to neutral ice. Oleg Sinkov over the Mariner blue line. Malkov now get on the boards. He goes all the way back into the Sokol Kiev zone. No icing is called as Rostov has it. Lost it in front. Miller's shot broke off the pads of Shundrov and wide. Unable to hold for the Mariners at the point. Jeff Circa all the way down in the Mariners zone. Caprice played it off his own man, Peters, and it rattled into the back of the net.
Well, you saw what happened. Frank Caprice came out to play the puck, and it hit Bob Beers, and it's in, and I think Kulabukov was the closest guy out there and may get credit for it. We'll have to wait and see who they give credit for. Now watch Caprice come out and go to make the play. I don't know if it hit Beers or it did hit the Soviet player. But the play is going to be made by Botvinko. Let's see from this angle. Yeah, I think he did get it. Botvinko. As Caprice could not clear, Botvinko makes the play, and it is all of a sudden 5-3.
So over the last 2 periods now, Sokol Kiev has rattled off 4 unanswered goals to take their biggest lead of the night.
And 3 of them, of the 4, have been unassisted, coming off Mariner mistakes.
Zitnik, zone. Luke Crawford hits hard. Townsend races for it. Zitnik skates away. He'll pull it back in his own end. Sergei Lubnin. Up at center ice as Sokol Kiev wind it back in their own zone. Anatoly Naida. Dogged by Luke Crawford. Naida sends back to Lubnin, and he'll bring through center ice. Sergei Lubnin on the right wing, inoffensively now. Alipov knocked down on the play by Townsend. It's back behind Frank Caprice. Digging in front, the passing play. Not to take the shot, Sergei Lubnin tried to hit a teammate down low. It went wide. Mariners have been outshot now 23-12 and trail 5-3. We've played 7 minutes in the second period. Kulabukov, wrister, up into the seats. Back behind Frank Caprice. So the Mariners trail by 2.